You already know what needs to be done. The list is sitting in your mind right now. You know that if you executed those actions consistently, relentlessly, without hesitation, your life would look completely different in 6 months. You would be wealthier, stronger, respected, and finally at peace. But you don't act. Instead, you lie there staring at the ceiling. You scroll. You bargain with yourself. You say, I'll start in 5 minutes. Then 5 minutes becomes an hour. An hour becomes another wasted day. And then the guilt arrives. That heavy, icy pressure in your chest, reminding you that you are squandering your potential. You tell yourself you are lazy. You assume you lack discipline. But that is false. You are not lazy. You are biologically conditioned. Your brain was not built for greatness. It was built for survival. And survival worships comfort. Survival prefers the path of least resistance. Your own mind is undermining you, dosing you with cheap dopamine to keep you safe, passive, and stagnant. But what if you could reprogram the hardware? What if there were a way to bypass the internal bargaining altogether, to condition your brain to crave effort, discomfort, and grind just as intensely as it craves your phone? It's called the override method. And once you master it, you will no longer depend on motivation. Most people spend their entire lives enslaved to a 3-pound organ that has barely changed in 10,000 years. Understand this clearly. Your brain is not your ally. It is a survival mechanism. Its central mission is conserving energy. To your primitive wiring, hard work signals threat. It looks like unnecessary caloric loss. It feels like danger. So when you attempt something demanding, write that book. Launch that business. Go to the gym. Your brain activates resistance. It releases cortisol. It manufactures psychological friction. That is not weakness. That is your limbic system hitting the brakes. This is why trying harder rarely succeeds. You are battling millions of years of evolution with a fragile impulse called willpower. That fight is unwinnable. The modern world has amplified this weakness. We live in an age engineered for comfort. Everything is optimized for ease. Food arrives at your door. Entertainment is instant. Validation is one click away. We are submerged in effortless dopamine. Your brain now expects reward without labor. You have become neurologically fragile. When you encounter a task that demands sustained focus with no immediate payoff, your brain panics. It cries out for relief. It demands the phone. This is the modern condition: sedated, distracted, consuming life instead of creating it. But there is a crack in the system, a hidden entry point. Neuroscience labels it neuroplasticity. But that term is too clinical for what we are about to do. What we are discussing is psychological alchemy. We are talking about rewriting the programming behind your impulse control. The override method is not about battling resistance head-on. It is about flipping the polarity. It is about conditioning your brain to interpret effort and discomfort as signals of safety, and comfort as the real danger. Because the truth is, simple comfort is the threat. Comfort is the gradual erosion of the soul. If you are listening to this, you can feel it. You feel the irritation of mediocrity under your skin. You know that if nothing changes, you will reach the end filled with regret. So how do we flip the switch? How do we train the brain to crave the fire? We go into the dark. You cannot desire difficult things if you are constantly saturated with cheap pleasure. Picture a man who eats cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Offer him a raw apple and he recoils. It is not sweet enough. It is too firm. It requires effort to chew compared to cake. Your brain is that man, and the internet is the cake. Before applying the override method, you must reset your baseline. You must recalibrate your sensitivity. This is the part most people resist, but it is the price of power. You need to welcome boredom. Boredom is not a flaw. It is a biological cue that action is required. In the past, boredom pushed humans to hunt, to construct, to explore. Today, the instant a fraction of boredom appears, you reach for the glowing rectangle in your pocket. You numb the signal, and in doing so, you weaken your ambition. To retrain your brain, You must first deprive it. Cut off the stream of cheap dopamine. This is not a weekend detox. It is a structural change in lifestyle. Stop playing music during every walk. Stop consuming videos while eating. Stop scrolling before bed. Sit inside the quiet. When the noise disappears, the brain reacts. It becomes restless. It demands stimulation. If you refuse to supply the cheap substitutes, if you deny the phone, the porn, the junk food, the brain eventually becomes desperate. It grows so starved for stimulation that even demanding work begins to feel attractive. This is the hidden advantage of high performers. They are not born with superior discipline. They simply remove alternatives. They design their environment so that the only viable path is the work itself. When you are truly hungry, a raw apple tastes extraordinary. When deprived of dopamine, writing an essay feels electric. Lower the waterline, and the rocks become visible. Ask yourself now, what are you using to sedate yourself? What is your pacifier? Is it video games? Is it the news? Is it endless commentary about lives you are not living? Identify it. Eliminate it. This is not punishment. It is allocation of resources. Your attention is finite. Every time you invest it in something that yields nothing in return, you are stealing from the person you are meant to become. After you reduce the noise, something unusual will surface. You will notice agitation, a restless current of energy. Good. That is your fuel. Now we set it on fire. Here is how procrastination actually works. A thought appears, I should go to the gym. Instantly, another voice responds, but I'm tired. I'll go tomorrow. It's raining. That space between intention and movement is where dreams collapse. That is the negotiation window. The longer you remain there, the stronger the excuses grow. The brain is brilliant at justifying laziness. It will hand you 1,000 reasonable arguments for staying on the couch. And because you are intelligent, you will accept them. The override method demands that you eliminate the gap. You install a kill switch. The rule is precise. The moment a necessary action enters your awareness, you have exactly 3 seconds to move your body toward it. Not 3 minutes, 3 seconds. If you hesitate beyond 3 seconds, the limbic system activates. Fear rises. Negotiation begins. But if you move before those 3 seconds expire, you ambush your own circuitry. You act before the defense system mobilizes. That is how you outmaneuver the hardware. You do not wait to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Waiting to feel like it is childish. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals execute. Imagine you need to write. The thought lands. 3, 2, 1. You stand. You sit at the desk. You open the laptop. You are moving ahead of your emotions. Movement generates emotion. We assume motivation must come first. Research shows the opposite. Action produces motivation. Action releases dopamine. When you apply the 3-second rule, you are telling your brain, we do not negotiate with terrorists. And that lazy voice is exactly that, a terrorist holding your potential hostage. Every time you override hesitation, you reshape neural pathways. You fortify the prefrontal cortex, the executive center, and weaken the amygdala, the frightened child. It will feel uncomfortable in the beginning. Your brain will protest. It will say, wait, we haven't checked email. Ignore it. Move. This is how you earn credibility with yourself. Confidence is built by honoring your own commitments. Each time you count down an act, you confirm that you are in control. You are the driver, not the passenger. Now we descend deeper, from behavior into philosophy. Why do you avoid difficulty? Because it hurts. Because it bores you. Because it creates stress. But what if pain is not a stop sign? What if pain is confirmation that you are on the correct path? The average individual interprets stress as evidence that something is wrong. This is hard, so I shouldn't be doing it. That is the mindset of the average person. The outlier interprets stress differently. This is hard. Therefore, it must be building me. This is deliberate reframing. You must condition yourself to link friction with satisfaction. Think about the gym. When you lift a heavy weight and your muscles start to burn, do you panic? Do you call for help? No. You welcome it. You chase the pump. You know that the tiny tears in your muscle fibers are exactly what produce growth. You have already redefined physical pain as a constructive signal. Now extend that logic everywhere else. When you sit down to work and encounter that wall of resistance, the impulse to grab your phone, the haze in your mind, picture it as mental weight training. That friction is the repetition. If it felt easy, it would not be transforming you. The brain operates through association. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I love this grind, I love this challenge, this is where weakness exits the body. You begin to override the biological response. David Goggins calls this callousing the mind. David Goggins, Carl Jung described it as integrating the shadow. Carl Jung, you are turning the thing you fear into familiar territory. When you are in the middle of something difficult, say it out loud, this is what separates me. Because it does. Look around at the majority. They are fragile. They break under pressure. They cannot sit quietly for 10 minutes. They cannot read a book without checking a notification. At the first hint of adversity, they fold by simply tolerating friction. You place yourself in the top 1%. Pain stands guard at the gate. It filters out the pretenders. If greatness were easy, it would be common. Difficulty is what gives achievement its worth. So when discomfort arrives, do not retreat. Move closer. Smile at it. Treat it like an old companion testing your strength. Is that all you have? That mental shift is the override. You stop searching for escape routes and begin choosing the steepest ascent. Because you understand the view is better from the summit, and the only road to the summit runs through struggle. Habits matter, but identity rules. You will never consistently embrace difficulty if you see yourself as a lazy person attempting productivity. That internal contradiction will sabotage you. Identity always prevails. If you believe you are lazy, you will unconsciously undermine your own progress to confirm the story, to permanently retrain your brain. The old identity must die. Adopt a new archetype. You are not someone trying to work. You are a machine, an operator, a builder. Eliminate the language of the victim. I'm trying. I'm struggling. It's hard for me. Remove those phrases from your vocabulary. Replace them with the language of sovereignty. I require. I execute. I am. When you wake up, you do not ask what you feel like doing. Your desires are irrelevant. Matters is what is required. Does a soldier question whether he feels like going to war? No. He follows orders. Does an athlete debate whether he feels like training? No. He follows a schedule. You must approach your life with that same professional distance. You are both commander and soldier. The commander designs the plan. The soldier carries it out. The soldier does not get a vote on the commander's directives. This separation is freeing. It strips away the emotional burden of constant decision-making. You do not decide to work out in the moment. That decision was already made last night by the commander version of you. Now you simply execute. This is the flow state elite performers describe. It is the removal of self-consciousness, the removal of doubt. It is pure, uninterrupted action. To solidify this identity, use symbols, use uniforms. When you sit at your desk, put on a specific pair of headphones. Once they are on, you are the machine. No browsing, no chatting, only work. When you go to the gym, wear the same hoodie. That is your armor. Train your brain to shift modes based on environment. You are building a Pavlovian response within your own life. You are conditioning yourself deliberately. The primal part of your brain responds like an animal. It needs commands. It needs structure. It must recognize who is in control. Be that authority. We have discussed depriving the brain of cheap dopamine. Now, consider the higher reward. The dopamine from scrolling short-form videos is shallow. It disappears within seconds and leaves anxiety behind. But the neurochemical reward from completing something difficult is different. It carries pride. It carries depth. It is a lasting satisfaction that settles into your core. The override method is not about removing joy. It is about exchanging shallow pleasure for meaningful fulfillment. You must train yourself to crave the aftermath. When you are facing a cold shower, a blank page, or a heavy barbell, do not fixate on the discomfort. Focus on how you will feel 10 minutes after it is complete. Picture the walk back to your car after an intense workout. You feel lighter, stronger, victorious. Picture shutting the laptop after 4 hours of focused work. You feel that your rest is earned. That sensation surpasses any artificial high. It is competence embodied. Your brain can learn to pursue that state. This is the reward cycle. Trigger, the difficult task appears. Override 3-second activation. Action, lean into resistance. Reward, the profound calm of completion. Repeat this pattern enough times and your brain begins to associate difficulty with deep internal peace. Over time, you will begin to feel uneasy when you are not doing difficult things. A day off will make you feel slightly unbalanced. Others will label you obsessed. They will say you are a workaholic. They will not understand. They will assume you are punishing yourself. What they fail to see is that you are the only one truly enjoying the process. There is no pleasure in mediocrity. There is no happiness in wasted potential. There is only a quiet, persistent dissatisfaction. Real joy is born from effort. So which side do you choose? The brain prefers safety because it feels secure. The soul prefers meaning because it feels alive. The override method is simply the mechanism that allows the soul to prevail. Now let us step into the darkest part of the question. Why does this matter at all? Why not choose an easy, comfortable existence? Why not settle for average? Because deep down, you know you are capable of something formidable. Jordan Peterson and Carl Jung both spoke about the necessity of confronting danger. A harmless man is not virtuous. A harmless man is merely weak. A good man is dangerous but disciplined. Embracing difficulty makes you formidable. It expands your capacity. It strengthens your agency. Each time you override your impulses, you demonstrate that you are not owned by them. If you cannot govern what you consume, you are controlled. If you cannot direct your attention, you are controlled. If you cannot follow through on your own word, you are controlled. And those who are controlled are not fulfilled. The true aim of the override method is sovereignty. It is about ruling your internal kingdom. There is an internal conflict unfolding within you right now. A civil war between the higher self and the lower self. The lower self relies on fatigue, distraction, and fear to maintain dominance. It wants you comfortable, hidden in the cave. The higher self demands elevation. It demands fire. Every time you choose the harder path, you strengthen that higher self. You arm it. You expand its territory. Sustain that pattern long enough, and the lower self begins to wither. It grows quieter. It does not disappear. The shadow always remains, but it no longer commands. It serves. Picture who you could become 5 years from today if you apply this method daily. Imagine the skill set, the physical strength, the financial stability, the composure, the authority. That future version of you is waiting for one thing: for you to stop negotiating. That version is urging you to begin the countdown. 3, 2, 1. You now possess the code. You recognize the biological betrayal. You already understand that comfort is a cage. You possess the 3-second kill switch. You know how to reinterpret pain as power. But information alone is not power. Information is possibility. Power is action. This video is ending, and when it ends, silence will fill the room again. In that silence, you will face a decision. Your brain will instantly attempt to queue up another video. It will try to trap you in the consumption cycle. It will attempt to numb you again. Do not allow it. The second this screen turns black, choose one task, one difficult task you have been postponing. Then move on it. Not tomorrow. Now. Channel the agitation you feel. Channel the frustration. Channel the hope. Override the system. If this shifted your perspective, understand that this is only what can be shared publicly. There are discussions that cannot be released openly. There are elements of dark psychology that cannot be explored in full on the platform without censorship or demonetization. The algorithm filters the most potent material. That content exists beyond the public layer. If you are still here, you are different from the majority. Subscribe if you have not already. And if you want access to what is withheld, use the join option and step into the architect tier. There you will find exclusive, uncensored material that explores the deepest structures of the human psyche. Advanced manipulation frameworks, shadow integration practices that dismantle and rebuild you, and the forbidden philosophies that quietly shape the world. Most people will not take that step. That is precisely why it matters.